Hey everybody, welcome back, and you are listening to Ultimate Affiliate Marketing. I am your host, as always, it's Paul Martel here, and we are at the 50th day of the podcast, which means, although there were episodes before, which you should go back and listen to anyway, but this is the mark, and this day actually marks the 50th day in a row that I've recorded the podcast, and I've got to tell you, I have enjoyed every single episode so far, and it's like almost like a seventh toward my initial goal, which was going to be like doing a podcast episode every single day for an entire year, which is obviously 365 days, not including the leap year. But yeah, it's been cool. And, you know, watching the stats building up and seeing the consistency and the results that it presents as well, it does kind of like, it's something that I'd recommend anybody doing, whether that be doing a YouTube video a week or putting something out on your blog, or like I say, whether it's all these other platforms that you've got TikTok, you've got, oh gosh, I can't even think of them all now, but you know which ones they are. Being consistent is one of the key points to any success. So whether it be on your Facebook profile, in the Facebook groups, your Facebook business page, even though that reach has dropped dramatically, I find that just by staying consistent is the key to your success. So, and again, when we're talking about sending emails out, I mean, I know some people send emails out multiple times a day, so they've got that dialed in. And I think it's important, because if you want to get your message out to people, if you want people to engage with you and start to like you, know you, trust you, and eventually buy from you, then I think it's something that you do need to do. Because if you only send out like an email once every 3 months, then people have forgotten who you are. Or if you're sending out an email every week, then people will get used to you being in their inbox. If you do it at a specific day or in a specific time, then people will get used to having that information sent to them. It's exactly the same as when I see some of the YouTube guys getting interviewed. Remember, there was a family which actually created a YouTube channel, and their audience got to know that their episode or their YouTube video would be coming out on a set day around a set time of the week, and people would know and they'd tune into it. It's very much like having a favorite show coming out once a week. You know when that's on, so you engage with it when that's on. So that makes sense to them, and it should make sense to you as well. And I think when you actually look at it and you think about how you can then move people away from, or move people towards greater goals for themselves, I think that makes a big difference. So if you are positioning yourself from not trying to sell your own stuff, but to actually then position yourself as a helper, a teacher, a guide, a mentor, a coach, or whatever it is like that, then when people have problems, then obviously you're the one that they go to, because you've helped them so much in the past. And that is kind of like what's starting to happen now a little bit, is that, I mean, I put certain content out which is going to help them with a specific program, for example, and I'm affiliated with the program, and now people reach out to me because they want advice about that, and so I can give them the benefit of my experience. I can give them my ideas and you know, the sort of like the backup and the follow-up and the support that I can offer personally, and then people are more likely to go ahead and make a purchase. So it kind of just makes sense to do that and position yourself differently. Stop thinking about what's in it for you, and think about what you can do for others and how you can help other people. And what's really cool now is literally about 10 minutes ago, I was interviewed for another podcast which should be coming out soon. A guy called Mac on that. I'll put a link to his podcast in the show notes so you can have a listen to that interview. And it was, I mean, the first one we did, we're going to do another one in a few weeks' time where it's going to be a little bit more in depth. But the first one is kind of like, you know, who you are, what, and all that sort of thing. And I do find it difficult talking about myself, because it's not always easy, and especially if you're like more introverted. I mean, doing this podcast like this is great. If I had to sit and stand in front of an audience and saying everything that I've said and done on this podcast itself, it would be a completely different animal. But I know that if I started out with maybe just talking to one person, then perhaps I could talk to two, and then maybe I could talk to 5 or 10. And I've done this on Zoom calls before where, you talk one-on-one to people and it's very easy, it's just like talking on the telephone. It's second nature to us all these days. And I've also then done it to, I think, 10 or 15 people on a Zoom call where I just literally just did a presentation. But if I multiplied that out, or if I had those 15 people stood in my, or sat around in my living room or a small conference or a small office, then maybe it's going to be different. But again, you can progress and you can build up. And I think that's something you've got to try and work towards. To get your message out to people, you've got to be prepared to actually present your message to people. I hope that makes sense anyway. I don't know. I could be rambling. Who cares? Sometimes this podcast is about that. But it's just me sort of like spilling my knowledge to you guys and thinking, right, how do you then go from, knowing next to nothing to being able to learn something and then being able to teach something so that you can then help people at a higher level? Because ultimately, the more or the higher level that you can teach people, the more it's going to help your bank balance. Believe me, it happens. This is the way it happens for a lot of people. You go ask the guys right at the top, this is exactly the same journey as they took. And I think that's important, because if that's really what you want to get to, at some point you're going to have to start getting out of your comfort zone and start doing it. It's the same as when people say, I don't want to be on camera. Fine, don't be on camera then to start with. Just do voiceovers on videos. Or you say, I really don't, I'm really embarrassed about doing Facebook Lives or stuff like that. Well, just start doing them. I mean, the easiest way to overcome being shy on camera would be to keep recording. It sounds weird, but it does work. You have to keep recording. So if I was really nervous or shy about doing Facebook Lives, for example, what I would do is go through the process of actually doing the lives, but create yourself a little private group so no one else can be in there and do the Facebook Lives to that group. And if you carry on and you do it for so long, you're going to start getting used to the camera, you're going to get used to the actual process of uploading, you get used to the process of filling out the comments and putting the details in, and it becomes second nature after a while. And so far, you keep doing it, and it starts getting easier. And therefore, once the time comes when you're ready and you can actually do the Facebook Lives either on a group where there is people, or whether it be on your Facebook timeline where there's lots of people going to see it, then it's less of a barrier, it's less of a problem for you. So I think that's what you got to do, and I keep going on about it. Just be consistent in whatever you're doing, whether it be marketing or just getting content out. Just be consistent and you will start to get the results. Anyway, so that's it for today. So again, 50th episode, really chuffed to get this far so far, and I'm looking forward to hopefully doing these for the rest of the next what would be 315 episodes to make it a year in one go. So we'll see how that pans out.